and I'm definitely gonna share it. And yeah, man. I'm
I
looking
really
forward to
think
checking
about
that
like
stuff.
who's making money right now. And I'm talking, forget like just the local, the European, North American.
Yeah.
Who's making money even when you're looking at the industry that's working?
Yeah.
Right? It's not necessarily the musician making money off their art.
No.
It's the musician using their art to promote their personality, to make money off of everything else.
Endorsements.
The music is the commercial. You understand?
Yeah, for sure.
The album is the commercial. So I mean, it's just not the era we're in anymore where we're attaching value to something we make.
Well, like it used to be special, you know what I mean? There used to be a mystique to the music. There used to be it used to be special. You used to want to go spend $20 on a CD, you know what I mean?
Put up posters and shit.
Yeah, like
But even in the era when you were though, like for example, look at TLC. They sold close to, I want to say like, let's say maybe 40 million records. And by selling close to 40 million records, they were still broke. They had to file for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the music
well, what about New Edition after going on their first tour? They got presented like what was it, $1.50 check each or something?
Yeah. So the music doesn't always make you the money.
No.
You know what I mean? And like my man said, you got to be able to use, whether it's your videos or whether it's your album or whatever it is you're doing, you got to use that as an infomercial, as a way to tie everything together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's, in all honesty, that's the power of hip hop. And, I think a lot of people really, really hated somebody like, let's say, a Puffy back in the day. And a lot of those people that kind of hated on Puffy, they're first hit the dance floor nowadays when you throw in a Bad Boy set. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
they'll say, fuck them all my rappers, and then you throw in a Bad Boy set, and they'll be
that's
like,
the
but they were
thing.
the first ones
The
to hate
things
that.
6ix9ine haters now still.
The things
Right.
people considered trash back in the day are eons
But what
beyond,
I want to say, though,
you know what I mean? Like on like a lot of levels,
Yeah.
what a lot of the popular stuff is today.
But what I wanted to say is, you know what I'm saying, if you look back,
Mike wants to
other
say
than maybe like a
something.
Russell Simmons, Puff was kind of the first to kind of realize, like, hey, man, we got to start tying all of these different industries
Elements.
and entities
Yeah.
together to diversify our bonds. Chappelle Show, diversify our bonds. You know what I'm saying? You can't just rely off of the music sales, you know what I'm saying? That's something that, we talked about before. Vic, you know what I'm saying, my mentor, Vic Sinclair, he told us that, you know what I mean? If you're indie, you absolutely can. If you got 1,000 fans who will spend $100 on your product a year, you can, but if you're a major artist, 9 times out of 10, you're going to go broke as a major artist, you know what I mean?
It's
and
like a
people
nickel
don't realize
profit
that.
per album.
Right?
for them,
Yeah.
You make more profit as an indie than you do as
Yeah,
well,
well,
as a major.
I know, right?
because so
now,
many
bro, I
people
put,
got their
like-
hand in your pocket before you even touch anything.
I put like
a
almost
point.
2 G's into my album right now, and like it ain't even close to being out yet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, shit's expensive out here.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, but that 2 G's is nothing compared to if you're on a major, what it costs to put out. If you're on a major, they're going to charge you 2 G's for one studio session.
Oh,
on the
100%,
Yeah.
100%, dog,
Yeah.
100%.
They'll charge you 2 G's for that can of Pepsi you get out of the vending machine.
See,
during
that's
that
why like
recording
someone like
session.
J. Cole's got it good though. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
records his own shit, produces his own shit, so he's invoicing himself.
Oh, that's
Like
the,
he
That's
decides
right,
what
man.
you know what I mean. The price is
You know,
like
you don't hear people out here now like, oh, I'm trying to get a deal. I'm trying to, because that ain't how the music industry
no,
works.
it's not really. And to be honest, nowadays like the labels, they're just leeches, and half the stuff
Kind
they
of.
soak up
Been
has.
leeches. What's changed? It's just a
Done
different
changed.
game now.
Yeah, but I just mean like in the sense of like everything, like at least like you had A&Rs in the 90s. You had
I
groups
know,
that
but they
wanted
were
to develop
leeches.
artists.
They
They're
were
still
all
leeches.
leeches.
Still leeches, but I'm talking like nowadays it's like half the artists they suck up are artists who are self-sustained, already hot, and the other half are like bad bobbies and shit. Like people who are just like, you know what I mean?
Self-sustained. Like she has the
Viral
YouTube
fucking
Right.
other people. Like Shiggy would probably drop an album next year. You know what I mean? Like,
Listen, if you want to get involved in the music industry, and let's say you want to get involved, but you don't have the musical inclination or talent, and you're trying to figure out your thing, don't try to go viral. Just become a damn fucking entertainment lawyer, all right? Invest that 8 years and that $100,000 or whatever.
well, there's
and
too many people wanting to be the
hopefully you'll
star
be the
and not
next
enough
Clive
people
Davis.
wanting to be the behind the scenes people.
absolutely.
That's another problem with the industry.
Absolutely. The money's behind the scenes, not
And that's
in
where the
camera,
money is,
guys.
but everybody wants the popularity.
Yeah, that's
Everybody
not even
wants-
the industry. That's social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's life in
The
general.
industry's taking advantage
Of the social media.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Because again, the music don't matter at all.
Yeah.
At all. It's valueless,
Yeah.
right? So as long as you can get 7 million views, it doesn't
You're
matter
set.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
No, you can get like easily 100 plus more. Or what was the numbers I heard today? Who was saying it? It wasn't Charlamagne. Someone I was listening to today, either way, but they were like, the math basically breaks down to like if you got 1 million followers on Instagram and you have over 1 million to 2 million hits on a video, that you can actually get presented. It's like up to about a $1.5 million deal right now from a record label. Whether you're like an artist or not, like whether you're like, like that's the way the math breaks down. Like if you have that much type of influence, like they'll throw a deal at you.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
That. Well, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for ready-made hits. They're looking for influencers. Remember, I said it last week. I said it, before. The biggest, most influential people when it comes to this thing is the 14 to 19-year-old white girls who have disposable income. Like it's the urban people who give something its stamp of approval, and it's the 14 to 19-year-old girls who make things go pop. And once it goes pop, that's when it makes that money for these companies and whatnot. And that's all they're looking for right now. They're looking for the things that disposable income age group can spend that money on. They don't want anything they have to invest in. They don't want to spend 5 years to recoup on their investment. They want instant return. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They want instant sales. So that even touched on something that you said in your documentary when you talked about people putting out an album and within a week nobody cares about it.
Yeah.
And that's really what I feel like, you know what I mean? And that's hard to digest as an artist because you put out a project.
But even the biggest artists.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like Astroworld was the talk of hip hop for a week. Then the next shit came out. Then the next shit came out. And like everybody calls this like one of the greatest years in hip hop we've had in a long time. I actually
agree with that,
I disagree to the degree of that it's way too oversaturated. Like, we
got
a lot of
don't
great,
listen to that shit.
Well, we got a lot of great artists put projects out, but like none of these projects really stand up to any of their previous work.
I've gone back and listened to a lot of albums that have come out this year, specifically Drogas Wave and specifically Book of Ryan. Those two albums
Book of Ryan's fire.
Prime 2 was fucking hard too.
Yeah,
right?
Prime 2 was like
it
was dope, but
give Royce the fucking
I don't know, man. Prime 1 to me, that was like soundtrack of my life album. Like all 2000. When did it come out? December 2014? I think so, yeah. That was my, like that album, that was short and sweet, 9 songs. And that was the soundtrack to my whole life for 2015. Like the shit he was talking about. Like, you know what I mean? The, the cheating and all that shit, like everything was just so like relatable. And then on the new Prime, it was just kind of like a bar exam mixtape over primo beats.
See, to your point though, there's two different types of people looking at the year, right? So there's a type of person who's listening to music and enjoying music.
Yeah.
And that's the person that you're talking about who says it was a great year for hip hop.
Yeah.
Because it was. If you're just talking about music.
Yeah.
Right? Dope beats, rhymes, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're talking about hip hop, and hip hop not as a genre of music, but just
sales and marketing.
Like,
culture.
Yeah, feel.
Yeah.
Like just like so.
The feeling wasn't there.
Like the Book of Ryan was an amazing album. Right?
Yeah, that album is.
And then another album came out.
Yeah.
And now that's it. Like so.
Yeah, it's weekly now.
There was a time when hip hop was alive.
Yeah.
And an album changed.
And I lived in the North.
Changed
like
the way people
it was a
to
soundtrack
each other.
like
it changed the way people dressed. It changed the way where people went.
It
how
shifted
they
culture,
spoke, perspective, the books they read. Like it was just a whole. It wasn't music. It was a whole culture and vibe that an album impacted. Right.
Now, seeing like what I feel
so
we
from
have
that perspective, when you say this is not the greatest year in hip hop or it's not a great year in hip hop, I understand that perspective because the music. The quality of the music doesn't really.
But let me.
Well, it doesn't like it doesn't exactly like you said, right? Because like you go back and like I said, Prime is the 2015 soundtrack to my life. Like that's an album that came out that put you in that 90s feel. You know what I mean? Like you look at it and it represents a time in your life. Like a lot of classics. Like I'm younger, so I grew up on a lot of classics 10 years after they were old, but they still represent a time in my life. You know what I mean? Like 36 Chambers and fucking Illmatic just represents my whole fucking life. But you know what I mean? Like all these albums represent times in my life they were just past the prime of when other people, right? But that's the thing, like I don't like who really dropped like Book of Ryan was one of those.
Drogas
like it was
Wave,
dope.
Like I said,
is
Drogas
that
Wave
the Lupe album?
Yeah,
I haven't got a
amazing,
chance to peep that yet, so I got to peep that.
Amazing album.
But
his new album's good?
Yeah.
Out of all these great artists drop material, like no one really, aside from like those, no one really gave you a life soundtrack. You know what I mean?
J. Cole.
Yeah.
J. Cole's last album.
Like Jay-Z's 444 is a soundtrack album to me.
But let me play devil's advocate for a minute. You know what I mean? Because all of us are just a little bit older now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In our life. So yes, I definitely agree. The pace in which things are being released is a little bit crazier. You know, our attention spans to actually absorbing things, you know, it's waning a little bit.
Yeah.
But is it waning, you know, for us because we have more going on in our lives as adults compared to young adults or teenagers, or is it waning because you would say the overall culture?
That is a good point. That I think has to do with the amount of time you have to digest music and what you choose to listen to. That's like why with me, like hip hop is so, like it just is lost so much of that special feeling. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was telling Mike before we started the show, do you know what I spent my day listening to at work today? Old radio recordings on cassette people posted to YouTube of DJ Red Alert live on the radio in like 88.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's not age.
I feel you.
I was talking like, I don't know if I said this before the last time I was here, but it makes sense to the film. But again, I was talking to like a 20-year-old dude, right?
Right.
And he could not relate to the emotional attachment that I had to music.
No,
Yeah.
I get that.
You know
I
what
get
I'm saying?
that.
It's like pop music to a lot
there's
of
too
kids
much.
now. Yeah.
There's too much music to choose from. I play this. Okay, cool. Like
Yeah.
I listen to it once. I don't know that it's normal nowadays for kids 10 years younger than us to listen to an album, get to the end, start it over.
No, I get that.
Yo,
I mean,
honestly,
that's-
I
know what I
listen
mean?
to albums cover to cover all day at work. Like, yo, I ain't listening to song. No, I'll put on an album. I'm listening front to back because that's the way you get a full feel of an album.
Yeah.
But a lot of albums these days, like the new school hip hop stuff, there isn't a story to the album. That's why I was really feeling Kendrick when he first came out, because like he had a story to his music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that brought it back to like the '90s hip hop, where it's like it said something.
Well, no, absolutely, and I think it boils down to a few things. Number one, the fact that we have less labels, so less competition. Number two, anybody could put out an album. Number three, we live in the singles era, but also number four, again,
Isn't it weird how it cycled like that?
Yeah.
Like hip hop
we live in the singles era.
grew
but
up
also what I wanna
on
say
the
is,
singles.
right? It
Yeah.
grew up in. It grew
And
up on
now
the
we're
singles,
back
but
there.
you
Mans
would
are
find-
dressing like the '80s again too. So whatever.
No, they
Hey.
are. But also, again, I'm gonna say, like I'm turning 37 on Saturday, so I'm getting up there.
You
know
just
what I'm
dated
saying?
yourself,
I don't
fam.
give a shit. 80s favorite babies.
Nothing
all
you
day,
have to say
every day.
matters anymore.
But listen, check it out. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm going back to the liquor store. I'll be right back, guys.
yes, sir. All right, please bring something back. Yeah, you know what I
Shout
mean?
out to Chris Thomas.
But growing up,
Another applause.
my age, yes, sir. Drinks with Chris.
You just
My
changed the whole
age
atmosphere.
is
Right?
almost parallel with hip hop. So as old
Yeah.
as I was, hip hop is only a few years older, which means it was somewhat of a new genre. It was still in its infancy. It was still in its teenage years. It was still finding out who it is. Now hip hop's in its 40s. You know what I'm saying? So the whole aspect of it just being, you know what I mean? Like it's fully developed.
Yeah.
But it
There's still gonna
hasn't
be new
developed.
things.
That's the problem.
Well, I mean, it's not new
Put it like this.
like that. You know what I
Put
mean?
it
You
like
just
this.
saying that reminded me of the KRS-One line. Fucking, I don't know why, but rap as a whole isn't even 20 years old.
Yeah.
And
But
then in
now-
20 years, we'll be the old school artist. And then you can start this. It's like, yo,
But that's the whole thing. The old school, the
That shit's
old
still
school
hard, too.
Is not respected. That era that he's talking
Yeah.
about
But I
think
in
it
that
is,
record
though.
right
I
now,
think it
it's
is.
respected by those who know it.
Yeah.
Those who don't know it are not familiar with it.
They don't give a fuck
disregard it.
even.
Yeah, but they don't need
Nah,
to.
but-
They don't need to.
true.
Right?
Like, because
That's
I don't
the
give
thing.
a shit about a lot of people.
Yeah.
I gotta be
Yeah.
honest. Like, I call myself like a hip hop head.
Yeah.
Right. The way I grew up, the way it influenced me, and I swear hip hop influenced me more than my parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know Run DMC is important.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know Cool Mo D is important.
But you just don't
But that's
vibe
not
with
your
it.
generation.
And I went and listened to it, and I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that
then I
wasn't
went to
your-
Nas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Because as far as the evolution is concerned, things are always gonna be dated, right?
Right.
And that's the same way these kids are nowadays.
It is. It
But
is.
that's the whole thing. Is what came out before more advanced than what's out now?
It depends on levels.
Yeah.
You know what's more
Yeah.
advanced now? The beat.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
The production.
No, you know what? Everything's more advanced
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Let's be very straight
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
right? Lyrically, things are being done today that have never been done and could not have been done in
It
'86.
depends. What, like,
Things are.
I
Things
would
are.
say
thing-
maybe
what things are?
melodically, not
No.
necessarily lyrically.
I'm talking like put Royce 5'9" against Run. I'm just saying.
But Royce Ferdinand
reason-
came on in the 90s, so if we have to compare that era.
No,
not
I don't.
now.
I'm talking about right now, not where he's from. I'm saying even
because
the
he
MCs.
was kind of rapping.
No,
like
I get
that
it,
from
though.
Well, because you
Techno.
lay the groundwork for someone else to be inspired and then to twist
and
things
then
a
they get
different
better,
way.
and
Like,
better and better.
You
and
know,
better.
Cool G Rap was the first like real multi-syllable guy. But just because you're the first doesn't mean you'll be the best to ever
not
do
the
it.
best.
But
You
what
just
it
set
is-
a trend. Now a bunch of people want to be better
And
than
they-
you.
and they master
But put it like this: Who's
Yeah.
better than Cool G Rap doing what he does?
Multi-syllables?
Who's better? And put it like this: If
Yo,
I say
Eminem's
Eminem is
better.
better,
Eminem.
we would say
Eminem.
but that's the whole thing, right?
Eminem.
We would say
Eminem,
Eminem is,
yeah.
but
Even G Rap said
and
pun.
when- but if and when I go
Pun.
is Eminem better than Cool G Rap? People will be like, no.
out of respect.
So
See, because that's the
we
thing.
need
You have
to be
to
honest. Fuck
no,
the respect.
no.
So
let's
let's-
be
but- so
honest.
let's
It's
be
about
honest.
two different
But let's
things.
be
It's about
honest.
separating yourself from
But let's be
looking at
honest.
everything at face value
But let's
as
be
equal,
honest.
or it's about if you look at
But
things from
let's
the
be
time that they came
honest.
out.
Let's be honest.
And what it had,
No,
like-
but this is based on what you said.
Yeah.
Right? And based on what you said, if people are getting better, based on he's the first dude, he did it good, but someone did it better. We're gonna say between who did it better and who did it first, who's better?
At that. Yeah.
Period.
But
Let's
we
be
can-
honest now. Stop the fuckery. That's why when everyone's getting mad at me about the Cool G Rap post, I started laughing because you're not you're not being honest.
Yo, the
Yeah.
first
Because
time
you
I ever
can't-
heard Eminem say, "We ain't eager to be illegal, so please leave me with the key to your GP." I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Like it had to me that had never been done.
Yeah.
And
I know
G Rap
Cool
looks at his
did that
shit, and G
And
Rap
I
is
know
like,
that
yo,
he
that guy's
inspired
one of the
him.
Yeah.
one of the guys that made him go, oh shit.
Yeah.
Out of all the rappers, G Rap was like, it was M.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one made me holy shit.
Yeah.
So
So there's an evolution to it.
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is it's always gonna get better.
Yeah.
Like, people are gonna rap better.
Yeah.
The beats are gonna bump better.
but what I'm
Problem
saying right
is-
now though, right now,
Yeah.
we'll use Eminem as the marker. As of right now,
yeah,
has it got better?
it'll keep getting.
But
better.
has it from Eminem right now to where
Yeah.
we're at right now?
Well, I mean, from Cool
is
G
it better
Rap
right
to
now?
Eminem,
Production
Yeah, of
has
course.
got
But
better.
I'm saying from Eminem
Production's got better.
to right now,
and that's what I'm saying.
is
Has
the
the production
overall
got better,
state better?
I prefer boom bap beats, but like,
But the production's
if,
better.
yeah, like if
Quality.
you listen sonically, like everybody looked at
The
Dr.
sonic
Dre when
quality,
the Chronic
absolutely.
came out because they're like sonically this has never been done before. But now if like
We're not saying
a
the
Lil
skill
Baby
of
and
the
Gunna song sonically hits harder than the Chronic does.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Again, when I say hip hop is dead, I'm talking about the feeling.
Yeah.
Right.
But what is the real hip hop feeling? Because in the different eras, it's different feeling.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
a nostalgia.
Because if we go to
Yeah.
Sugar Hill Gang period until about before Rakim, that was hip hop.
You go Park Jams up to Sugar Hill Gang.
You can even go Sugar Hill Gang right through
tell-
right
But
through the
before that, there was
message.
no hip-hop.
I'll tell you when I started
That was
noticing
hip-hop.
it. Okay.
And then afterwards,
This is the
Yeah.
evolution of technology.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all it is. It's not about art. It's not about
Yeah.
music. It's about the
technology.
evolution of technology. So
Yeah.
in the studio, there was a point where
Yeah.
we started making beats that rappers could not compare to.
Yeah.
I remember listening to the Blueprint, and no one was really talking about this at the time, but I remember, and I was just, you listen to it and you forgive it because it's a classic and everyone
Yeah.
loves it and I
Yeah.
love it and whatever,
Yeah.
so you just ignored it. But in retrospect, I remember listening to the Blueprint and thinking, these beats are really blowing Jay-Z out the water. Like, I remember
wow.
thinking that.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, they should turn Jay-Z's voice up a little. I remember thinking these little tiny
Yeah.
things. And as
Okay.
hip-hop started to progress, I started to realize, like, this level of beat
yeah.
kept evolving and kept growing, the quality, the sonic, the boom, the oomph, until here we are today,
Yeah.
where you don't even need to fucking rap. Because
No.
if that beat is the
knocking.
beat is hip-hop now.
No, but the
You
beat
know what
has
I'm
always
saying?
been hip hop.
Nah,
it
not
always
on
The
this
beat
level.
came before
No,
the
it
rapper
always
though.
When the
has
beat
from
Yeah,
the
the
is
beat
get-go.
came,
stronger
the break
than
beat
the
came
rapper.
before the
No,
rapper though.
That's the whole.
That's a whole new era.
But that's the whole thing. It always came from the beat.
Yeah.
Because the beat wasn't hard. No one's gonna dance.
Yes, but
And if they weren't fucking with break beats,
but the rapper had a
rap-
part to play.
but
Yeah, so
before
The
that,
rapper doesn't have a
though.
part to
No,
play
but the whole thing is,
anymore.
if the beat ain't deaf, the rapper ain't coming off properly.
The rapper don't need to be on the beat. That's what I'm in 2018.
Rapper don't even have to be on the beat.
do you-
but that's why I said it's
we've
going
never
back to
seen
where it
so
came
many
from.
stars.
It's going back to where it came from.
I feel
Because
like
where it
because
came from,
if
it
you
was-
listen
it
to like a
came-
Planet
yeah.
Rock, it was more about
I don't
the
know. I
beat.
think
It wasn't so much
I don't
about the
know.
raps
I
on
think
Planet Rock.
Grandmaster Caz is doper than like G Herbo.
Yeah,
he might be
for
hyper,
sure.
he might
So
be
I don't know if
better
it's going
rapper.
back to where it came
But that's
from.
how many people during whatever?
Well, Kaz was like
Hold
the
on.
innovator of
Okay,
lyricism.
So at that time, how many other people was he competing against?
himself, basically.
Okay. So
Maybe
afterward-
Melly Mel.
So is he better than Rakim? Is he better than G-Rap? Is he better than Eminem?
See, but this is the conversation as to where it's
Now,
two
why do
different things.
Why do we keep changing the post?
Why do we always do this?
We should be able to compare. It doesn't matter the era no more. Because a lot of shit that's happening now, I can hear that
The thing
same
is,
type
though,
of music.
The
in
thing
the
is
80s.
too though, like
Same
when was
type
the
of
last
style.
time? Like
No,
when's
I
the
get
last
what
time
Mike's
you heard a
saying, man.
Grandmaster Caz verse though?
It doesn't
Like you don't know,
matter.
maybe
It
he's
doesn't
writing
matter.
the illest shit
still
you
right.
ever heard in your
But
life
at
at
the
his
end of
crib.
the day,
But he's like, fuck
based on
this
what
shit.
we have heard.
Cool Herc ain't never get a
because
royalty
then
check.
When we say, "Oh, he's this and that," and then we say, "Well, let's compare him to him." Now we
No,
can't
but you
say
know what?
that. Nah, why
I think
not?
a lot of this boils down
You
to
gotta be
what
honest
Septo was
about it
saying.
now.
You know what I'm saying? Because he said, "I'm not necessarily into Run. I'm not necessarily into Kool Moody. I'm more into Nas." You know what I'm saying? It's a generational thing.
Yo, what's up? It's your man MLNY Maloney, Breaking Records Radio. You know what it is. I'm just here to tell you guys right now that you want to, if any of my smokers out there, basically, any of my Canadian smokers, now that it's legal, what you got to do is you got to head over to thccollection.com and check them out. And make sure you use the promo code HIPHOP. That's HIPHOP. And that's all capital letters. Save 10% on every purchase that you make. Anytime. They got everything. They got deals every single day of the week, which include like free whatever with whatever you buy. And my favorite is Tulip Tuesday. You can get $100 ounces, and that's only on Tuesdays. And you save 10% on every purchase with the promo code HIPHOP, all caps. That's HIPHOP. So make sure you go over there, check them out. That's thccollection.com for all your good medible needs, for all your good greenery, your extracts, and all that good stuff.